Yeah, so let's talk about Ethiopia. So the conflict in North Africa's second most populous nation is spreading across borders, threatening stability in strategic regions. There's a long simmering tension between the Ethiopia's federal government and which is led by the Nobel Prize winner Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and defiant authorities in its North Tigray region have erupted into a military confrontation. Hundreds of civilians have died, while tens of thousands have sought refuge in Sudan after airstrikes. As the conflict threatens to further destabilize the strategic horn of Africa's region, I would just say that was a hard stop there. But the real question is that there's a power struggle in Africa over resources, basically.
It's
And
gonna be
that's
like
what's
that all over the
happening.
world soon. They keep doing what they're doing with global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it. We're all gonna
But I
start
mean,
facing that, especially if we're not even even with the COVID situation, they're creating situations where people are going broke and they're not going to be able to survive as easily. So even if there are resources, if you don't have the money for the resources, what do you think is going to happen? It's very. I'm not going to say it's as bad as it is in a location like
because
Ethiopia
it's not
or
direct resources. I mean,
yeah,
yes, it's more of a trade center. This is
yeah,
not like that's important to note. Like
yeah,
this is about the way that resources go through, and there's literally just two factions that disagree inside of a country, and they're willing to go to war for it.
yeah.
And but unfortunately, what's really important is the way that Ethiopia responded to it. They were basically responded to. I'm going to read the whole statement here, but they basically responded to it as, "We didn't do it. We're not the ones right now going bombarding the people who are our enemies, the TPLF. Um, which is the Tigray's People's Liberation Front.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me just read this real quickly. Ethiopian federal forces used heavy artillery. Cannot say artillery today. Ethiopian federal forces have reportedly used heavy artillery to bombard Mekelle, the capital of the northern region of Tigray, with shells hitting the outskirts of the city of 500,000. The reports of new violence around Mekelle on Saturday came almost a week after Abiy Ahmed, the prime minister, told the leadership and the forces of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the ruling party in the restive region, to surrender to face an assault on the stronghold. So that's what's important, is that they literally told them beforehand that they were going to have this altercation. And
Mm.
they're trying to pretend now that they're not having the altercation. And they have enough gravitas to do so.
I don't know, man. I don't know,
I
man.
mean, I just think
It's
it's a scary time in a lot of these
yo,
countries.
it's like chess, like when you're trying to read somebody else's mind and why they're doing things and you can't figure it out. Like I listen to stories like this and like I'm pretty well in tune with like local stuff, but when it comes to like stuff outside of the country, because I get so little information about it, I guess because the fact that this country doesn't really promote or like show it that often on television, unless you're like somebody likes to read or really do research, you miss most of it. And I to be totally honest, I don't know but so much about this. And what I'm hearing from it just confuses me because like why are people doing this and I don't know. I'm
It all
just
comes down to the same thing. Is people
yeah,
want power. They
power.
want
At the
power.
end of the day
They
it's
want
power, but
control. They want to control other people.
yeah,
There's resources in controlling people,
yeah.
and it just becomes, it's like, I feel like sometimes some of these countries are like, well, it's been a while since anybody's had a war. We should start a war.
There's so
We're
many
not
of them
making
that
any
just
money
it's
because
like
everybody makes money off a war.
yeah.
Let's start a war. Let's do this.
Yeah, the people are like roaches, man. We can exterminate a couple just to make some money. It doesn't matter. it's, it's
True.
it's it's scary, man. Like
I
I
mean, to
understand.
them it's true. To them
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
Also, just to take because right after this we're going to take a break. We have to fix Teresa's mic.
Oh, why? What's wrong with it?
Can't
Oh,
hear her.
you
Oh
can't.
no.
Oh, you can't hear her?
No.
Oh, your mic fell. That's what it is. Her mic fell. It fell off her clip. Again, when she
Oh,
moved.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sitting around. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, that's much more humorous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got to clip it on good, girl.
I got it.
That's good.
Take a nip to that.
Can you hear her?
Yes. Well, that explains everything.
She's like, oh,
So, do you want to repeat what you said though? Because what you said was great. I heard you. I was just like, you were in the middle of the statement, and I was like, I don't want to cut you off.
No, it's just, it's these countries, it's like they think about it like, oh, well, we haven't had war in a while. Who can we go to war with? You know what? We'll go to war with these people. And it's a great moneymaker for everybody when it comes to war. They all make money. Nobody cares about the people that are being affected by in a war-torn country. Nobody cares about that, but it all comes down to control and money and power. That's what everybody's trying to do. It's just a big power grab on a lot of people's parts. Sometimes they take advantage, especially with the U.S. going into a transition from a leader that really didn't give a shit about a lot of countries and burned a lot of bridges, and now is going to I feel like sometimes he just wants to light the White House on fire and be like, here, Joe, you wanted it? Now you got it.
So actually that brings me to a great question. So do you believe that can ever change, or is this really just strategy? This is just economic strategy. This is the military industrial complex in a way that is so defined that it is almost impossible to topple that, or does I hate to say it, we have to start with the Biden administration, right? So can we persuade a Biden administration to keep stepping down from conflict somehow, but do it in an educated fashion? We're not doing it in an educated fashion right now.
It's ingrained in every culture. War is war. Greed, power, whatever. This is how I look at it. People feel like, this is what I'm thinking. I might be wrong. People are live life once, so they figure they're gonna do whatever suits their beliefs or needs or what wants or whatever it is. Some people are good-hearted people. Some people aren't. A lot of people join government with good intentions. And there just happens to be a lot of in different countries in society or whatever, or, like different places in general, where I believe people go in there with the ill intent to do things for power. I don't care if somebody dies. I'm gonna die soon anyway. It doesn't matter if I die. I just do this and enjoy the rest of my life. It's a sick thought, but I really feel like that's what some of this stuff is when it comes to war. Like, if you really believed in the gods that you said you believed in and everything else, you wouldn't be running government that way. You would be providing more for people.
What are you talking about? Most of the wars, the greatest wars were in the name of God. God told me to come and kill you guys.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That's how they twist the whole thing. That's what's scary about it. It's like, they could use it for that reason. It's like everything can be used for war in order for somebody to gain power. And there's so many weak-minded people in this world that they fall for it. Like, look at Trump, man. Like, Trump is like as bad as he was or whatever it is. He's proven to me that you could be so weak-minded that you can't see through his crap. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen through since he was in The Apprentice. Some people are like, oh, he's a rich guy and he's going to make the world rich and he's going to do this and he's going to make everything great and pull out all the swamp, the swamp animals or beasts or whatever, creatures or whatever you want to call it. I'm like, yeah,
Which
right.
Is all, I mean, that's all just a way to, yes, literally animalize things. And like, if you cause the most banal reaction in people, you're going to get the most reactive result. And all he wants is a reaction. And that's something that is obviously ostensibly going to drive most of us insane, because we're just trying to have a regular conversation about things, and it's impossible now. Like, we live in a time right now that, nothing has been a normal conversation. You're literally going, Trump did this again. Or you're on the opposite side of the spectrum and you're like, they believe in craziness.
Yeah.